Hey, what's happening, people? It's Odd Eyes Ian, and you guys remember how I said I was building a deck for my girlfriend? Well, the cards are all finally here. I bring you guys a Marincess deck profile today, and I'm actually super excited. I haven't touched the deck in a long time, and you're going to see that by the end of the video whenever we do a test town on EDO Pro instead of doing the physical cards. But I've waited long enough to get this deck profile out to you guys, so without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into the Marincess deck profile.
Alright guys, so I've waited long enough to finally get this deck profile to you, so let's just go ahead and tear right into it, starting with main deck, monsters. We're going to start with 3 Marincess Blue Tang. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can send 1 Marincess monster from your deck to the graveyard, except for 4 Blue Tang. If this card is sent to the graveyard as material for a link summon of a water monster, you can excavate the top 3 cards of your deck, and if you do, you can add 1 excavated Marincess card from to your hand, and then shuffle the rest of your deck, or shuffle the rest into your deck. Sorry, I can't read. You can only use each effective Marincess Blue Tang once per turn. Next card, we're running 3 Marincess Pascalis. I think I'm saying that right. I hope I've been saying that right this whole time. But if this card is normal or a special summon, you can special summon 1 Marincess monster from your hand in defense position, except for Marincess Pascalis. During your main phase, except for the turn that this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard and then target 1 Marincess spell or trap in your graveyard and add it to your hand. You can only use each effective Marincess Pascalis once per turn. Strong defender though. I really like the 2K just sitting there on defense. It's really nice. And then of course we're running 3 Marincess Seahorse. Gotta have 3 Seahorse. You can special summon this card from your hand to his own Marincess monster points 2. Marincess monster link monster points 2, I should say. You can only special summon Marincess Seahorse once per turn this way during your main phase, except for the turn this card is sent to the graveyard. You can banish this card from your graveyard and special summon 1 water monster from your hand to his own Marincess link monster points 2. You can only use this effective Marincess Seahorse once per turn. I like this one. This one, I debated on how many Mandarin I was going to run, but I did settle on 3 because it is kind of like a extra Sea Archiver in a way. If you control 2 or more Marincess monsters while this card is in your hand or in your graveyard, you can target 1 water link monster you control. Special summon this card to your zone that monster points to, but banish it whenever it leaves the field. You can only use this effective Marincess Mandarin once per turn. And now we're finally getting into 2-ofs. We are running 2 Marincess Sea Star. If this card is sent from your hand to your graveyard, then you can target 1 Marincess monster you control. It gains 800 attack until the end of this turn. You can only use each effective Marincess Sea Star up to twice per turn. So that's actually really neat. I actually forgot about that twice per turn effect. And now we have 1-ofs for Marincess. We have 1 Marincess Crown Tail. This is a long one, so get ready. During damage calculation, if a monster battles another monster, quick effect, you can send 1 other Marincess monster from your hand to the graveyard. Special summon this card from your hand. If you do, the damage you take from that battle is halved. And at the start of the damage step, if an opponent's monster attacks, you can banish this card from your graveyard. This turn, you take no battle damage that is equal or less than or equal to the total link rating of Marincess monsters in your graveyard times 1,000. You can only use each effective Marincess Crown Tail once per turn. Only 1 Crown Tail because it's just really a protection. And then we have 1 Balsalima to finish out our Marincess main deck monsters. If a monster you control would be destroyed by card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. You can only use each of the following effective Marincess Balsalima once per turn. You can banish 1 Marincess Trap from your graveyard and add 1 Marincess Trap from with a different name from your deck to your hand. And if this card is banished, you can target 1 face-up monster you control. It gains 600 attack. Alright, moving on after our Marincess monsters. Left a little pile there. Don't worry, it'll get shuffled together. Might as well stick a little pile there. Anyway, now we have a few little tech monsters for us. We have 3 Sea Archiver, like I was talking about earlier. We have Mandarin as an extra kind of Sea Archiver. But Sea Archiver, everybody knows what Sea Archiver does, but a basic little thing, if a monster is normal special summon to a link zone, a zone a link monster points to, read that backwards. You can special summon this card from your graveyard or your hand, whatever. It just gives us an extra body on board for our link summons. And now a few more little tech cards. We also run 2 Deep Sea Minstrel. It gives us a tuner, so it gives us some synchro options. You can discard this card from your hand and 1 water monster. Look at your opponent's hand and banish 1 card from their hand face up until the end phase. If this card is special summoned, you can send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard and target 1 of your level 3 or lower water monsters in your graveyard, except for Deep Sea Minstrel. Place it on top or bottom of your deck. You can only use each effect of DC Minstrel once per turn. And now, for just we have one Scriptron. You can banish one Cyberse monster from your graveyard, except for Scriptron. Special summon this card from your hand. If this card is sent to the graveyard as material for a link summon of a Cyberse monster, you can banish one, or you target one of your banished. Target one banished monster, shuffle it into the deck. You can only use each effect of Scriptron once per turn. And then a couple of hand traps. We are running an Effect Veiler, two Effect Veilers. Everybody knows Effect Veiler, everybody knows Ghost Sister, but we're running Ghost Sister as well because we just love to hate with effect damage with this deck. So I figure Ghost Sister is actually a really good way to go about it. But that does it for the main deck monsters. We're going to go ahead and move on to the spells and traps. Alright, starting off our spells, of course, in a Cyberse deck, we're running 3 Signet Minings. Send one card from your hand to the graveyard and add one level 4 or lower Cyberse monster from your deck to your hand. Only activate one Signet Mining per turn. And then an extra little draw support card. We are running one Moray of Greed. We can shuffle 2 water monsters from our hand to the graveyard and draw 3 cards. So it's a +1, but I think Moray of Greed, it's okay at 1. So I leave it in there at 1. Moving on to 2 Marincess Battle Ocean. It's our Marincess field spell. All Marincess monsters you control gain 200 attack. Also, each one gains 600 attack for each Marincess card it's equipped to it. Monsters you control in the extra monster zone that were link summoned using Marincess Crystal Heart as material are unaffected by your opponent's card effects. When you link summon a Marincess monster to the extra monster zone except during the damage step, you can equip up to 3 Marincess link monsters with different names from your graveyard to that link summon monster. It's just a staple card, but I don't think it's necessary to really run at 3, not yet at least. I find 2 is just fine. But moving on to 2 Mystical Space Typhoon, because I haven't had the chance to replace it with anything better. 2 Mystical Space Typhoon for now. Now moving on to our traps. We are very trap heavy in this deck. We are running 2 Marincess Wave. If you control a Marincess Link monster, target one face-up monster your opponent controls, negate the effects of that monster until the end of the turn. Then if you control a Link 2 or higher Marincess monster, all face-up monsters your opponent currently controls are all monsters you currently control, are unaffected by your opponent's card effects until the end of this turn. If you control a Link 3 or higher Marincess monster, you can activate this card from your hand, so it turns into a hand trap. So that makes it really nice. And then we have 2 Marincess Snow. If a Marincess Link monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one of those monsters, special summon one Marincess Link monster from your extra deck with a lower Link rating than that monster. This is treated as a Link summon. It is unaffected by your opponent's card effects while you control it. You can only activate one Marincess Snow per turn. We have a few more. We have 1 Marincess Current. When a Marincess Link monster you control destroys an opponent's monster by battle, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the Link monster or the Link rating of that monster you controlled by 400. Then if you destroy an opponent's Link monster by battle while you controlled a Link 2 or higher Marincess monster, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that destroyed monster's Link rating times 500. You can only activate one Marincess Current per turn. If you control a Link 3 or higher Marincess monster, you can activate this card from your hand. So all the Marincess cards can activate from your hand if you control a Link 3 or higher Marincess monster. So that's actually really neat, and I really like it. But we also have a White Howling. It's kind of overpowered, if you ask me. If you control a one water monster, target one spell in your opponent's graveyard, banish it. And if you do, for the rest of the turn, negate effects of all spell effects on your opponent's field. So neat. But to close out our main deck, we also have a Torrential Reborn, a really nice secret rare Torrential Reborn, I might add. But whenever a face-up water monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect and sent to the graveyard, special summon the monster destroyed and sent to the graveyard at that time, and then inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each of those special summon monsters. You can only activate one Torrential Reborn per turn, but that's fine, you can only run one. But that does it for our main deck. Give me just a second, and we will go ahead and do the extra deck. Alright guys, starting off our extra deck, we are running 2 Marincess Blue Slug, 1 level 4 or lower Marincess monster. If this card is link summoned, you can target one Marincess monster in your graveyard except for Marincess Blue Slug, add it to your hand. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except for water monsters. You can only link summon Marincess Blue Slug once per turn. That's why we only run 1, because it's recyclable super easily. But the 2 just works out. And then we're running another Link 1. We were running Marincess Sea Angel just to help us get Battle Ocean in the field. It's kind of our terraforming for the deck. 1 level 4 or lower Marincess monster. If this card is link summoned, you can add 1 Marincess spell from your deck to your hand. You can only link summon a Marincess Sea Angel once per turn. So these are only able to come out once per turn. That's where they're kind of limited. But we're also running 2 Marincess Coral and Enemy, 2 water monsters. You can target 1 water monster with 1500 or less attack in your graveyard and special summon it to the zone, to your zone this card points to. You can not special summon for the rest of the turn except for water monsters. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target 1 Marincess card in your graveyard except for Coral and Enemy and add it to your hand. You can only use each effect of Coral and Enemy once per turn. And then we also have 2 Crystal Heart, 2 water monsters, unaffected by your opponent's monster effects while this card is in the extra monster zone. During the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster or that opponent's monster is unaffected by card effects except its own, when this card or your Marincess Link monster points to is targeted for an attack, you can send 1 Marincess monster from your hand to the graveyard. For that battle, your monster cannot be destroyed by battle, and you can take no battle damage. So it's just another bit of protection from the extra deck, and it also helps us just extend in other ways as well. So Crystal Heart stays at 2, at least for now. And then we also have Marbled Rock. Starting off with our Link 3s, we have 2 Marbled Rock. 2 water monsters, 2 plus water monsters, sorry. You can target 1 Marincess card in your graveyard except for Marbled Rock and add it to your hand. You can only use this effect of Marbled Rock once per turn. When your opponent declares an attack, you can send 1 Marincess monster from your hand to the graveyard for that battle. Monsters cannot be destroyed by battle. Also, you take no battle damage. Also, it's just a 25 beater, and it's got really good effects. Now we're getting to our one-offs, our Link 4s. We're getting our Wonder Heart and our Bubble Reef. For Wonder Heart, it is 2 plus water monsters. Once per battle during damage calculation, if this card battles a monster quick effect, you can special summon 1 of your Marincess monsters equipped to this card. Also, this card cannot be destroyed by battle, and you take no battle damage from that battle. Equip the special summon monster to this card during the end phase, and if this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can special summon 1 Link 3 or lower Marincess card from your graveyard. And then, of course, Bubble Reef, 2 plus water monsters. Once per turn during each standby phase, you can banish 1 water monster from your graveyard or face up on the field and draw 1 card. Each time a monster is banished face up, this card gains 600 attack for each. Until the end of this turn, you can send 1 water monster from your hand to the graveyard, special summon 1 of your banished Marincess monsters. You can only use this effect of Marincess Bubble Reef once per turn. But that is our Marincess lineup for our extra deck. Moving on to just extra little tech things that just make things work. We're running a transcode talker, and I know I only got the gold rare here out of what is that, out of maximum? Yeah, it is out of maximum gold. I only have the gold rare here. TCG player kind of auto-corrected my stuff to the gold rare. Whatever. Everybody knows transcode talker. It's very heavily used. Everybody knows Splash Moon is very heavily used, but it's also in this deck. And then we have 2 synchro monsters. We are running Bryonac of the Ice Barrier and Trishul of the Dragon of the Ice Barrier, just for extra little things. We don't go synchro very often, but when we do, we want to have something nice to use. But that does it for the deck profile. If you give me just a minute to clean up, shuffle up, we will go ahead and do a test hand for you guys.
All right, guys, so slight change of plans. I haven't touched this deck in so long, I'll be honest with you, because I've been waiting on the cards to show up. So I went on EDO Pro and I did a test hand, and I had such a good test hand, I didn't want to do with the physical cards and just ruin it. So let's just go ahead and do a play-by-play of this test hand, and we'll see what we can do. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and pull up this replay. Okay, so I had a blue Tang, I had a Mandarin, I had a Snow, I had a Seahorse, and an Archiver in hand. So I had a pretty good setup to play with. So let's go ahead and start off and see what I do. I go Blue Tang effect, send Pascal's to grave for Blue Slug. Go and get my 3, get an extra Seahorse in hand, add Pascal's to hand, Seahorse, Sea Archiver, go for Sea Angel to get Battle Ocean, go for Mandarin, Mandarin comes on board, Splash Mage, get my Blue Tang back, go for Coral and Enemy. This is where it starts to get a little bit nutty, because now I've got so much stuff on board that I didn't even know what to do. So I just started kind of extending. So I go Battle Ocean, I go Marbled Rock, go for Bubble Reef. I'm like, oh wait, Bubble Reef lets me special summon. So I get an extra Marbled Rock. And then I add more to my hand. And then I've got a Blue Tang in hand for next turn. I've got a Pascal's in hand for next turn, and I've got a Seahorse in hand for next turn. I just want to say it wrong each time. But my goodness, I think this shows what this deck can really do. This is prime Marincess, in my opinion. I think we could put a few more bodies on board, but considering what I have on board, I don't think it's a problem. And I think this Marincess deck is pretty solid. But yeah, that's a test hand, guys. So I think I'm going to go ahead and toss it over to outro. All right, guys, so that's where I'm going to go ahead and leave this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys look forward to the duel with my girlfriend that'll be coming very soon. Like I said, the cards just all arrived today, so I still have to show her how to play the deck. But if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe and hit the bell so you know when I upload new videos. Follow me on social media. All my links will be down in the description. Have a good day, everyone. I'll see you next time. Peace out.